Ricordiamo
Let us remember that life is a gift from God. It is always sacred and inviolable, and we cannot silence the voice of conscience.
coscienza.
On June the 24th, the U.S. Supreme Court seemed to have finally affirmed the voice of conscience referenced by Pope Francis. With a 5-4 majority, the Supreme Court justices overturned the ruling of Roe v. Wade, which made nationwide abortion possible. In Europe, this outcome gives hope to many.
Now we look to the United States with great hope because we know that it is underway. We are hopeful that the change in the law will come true, which is really about the decision on abortion by the U.S. Supreme Court. In 1973, the ruling on Roe v. Wade gave a big push for abortion legislations in Europe. Now we hope that a reversal will happen, which would be a progress, a great progress of civilization, a great progress of humanity, a great progress on the level of human rights.
Of course, not everyone in Europe thinks like that. Many see it as a step backwards. Also in Europe, there's little knowledge about the U.S. legal system and its federalist approach. Anti-life activists exploit this ignorance and present the Supreme Court ruling in a very sinister light, claiming that women's rights are being undermined. The Vatican's Academy of Life said in a statement that this ruling challenges the world. The protection and defense of human life is not an issue that can remain confined to the exercise of individual rights, it said, but instead was a matter of broad social significance. Thus supporting the Supreme Court's ruling, it added that after 50 years, it was important to have a non-ideological debate on the place that the protection of life has in civil society. Such strong words come as little surprise. Archbishop Vincenzo Paglia, who heads the Church's official arm when it comes to the right to life, had already said before the court's ruling that life is a gift from God which deserves protection.
This sculpture tells us that children must be welcomed, guarded, helped to grow, because life is a great gift that God gives us, and He has entrusted to our hands to be increased and distributed.
The artist Timothy Schmaltz is convinced that a debate in society on the value of life at all stages is much needed.
This conversation, I think, is one of the most important ones that humanity can have. If we don't acknowledge that human life is sacred, then we're going to be open to more closing in of what Pope John Paul II said, a culture of death. And I think it's a slippery slope. In philosophy, you'll understand that that there's a gradation of acceptance that eventually will leave you into a point where you never ever wanted to end up in. And I think that with the idea of holding firm the maxim that all human life is sacred.
Schmaltz continued to say that as a Canadian, he sees different approaches as to how to lead this debate, the American one and the European one.
I just think that a lot of times that the Americans are more vocal and more courageous to state their point.
One thing that can be taken for granted is that Europe, and specifically the Vatican, are watching the proceedings in the U.S. closely, as they'll continue to have a great impact on all Western countries.